In light of the upcoming investor meeting, Disney has to put their best foot forward. And in this abbreviated video, we're going to talk about what exactly they're doing to ensure that. And that's even with very weak news when it comes to theatrical releases. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, hiss and foes, welcome to the Culture Casino!
If you caught the 6-Minute Daily today, I talked specifically about Raya and the Last Dragon. But that's only a small part of a bigger picture. That movie underperformed even the reduced projections that were made just prior to its release. Now, you can expect films to have lower projections these days, even with $100 million budgets, because obviously there are fewer people going to the theaters, and the theaters themselves are only allowing 25 to 35% occupancy, depending upon where you are in the country. With New York opening, you expected a significant jump in box office that just didn't appear. But that's not really what we're here to talk about. We're talking about the fact that it's important that Disney always put its best foot forward when it's coming into these annual meetings. Now, the quarterly meetings are for large institutional investors, investment houses, etc., because the general public, just the mom and pop stock owners, you and me, they aren't allowed to ask questions. This one time a year, a select few will get that opportunity. Now, we also have some news when it comes to the theme parks. Apparently, if it's not an April Fool's Day joke, Governor Newsom is going to allow for Disneyland to open. And boy, do they absolutely need that. I'm sure that'll be a point of conversation today. But there have been a lot of stumbles along the way and some outright lies that have been told by the company. And obviously, there's enough of those that there are multiple investigations that are, being conducted right now into Disney, and for good reason. I mean, financially, you have to keep good books when you're a large corporation, especially with the shareholders and shareholder power that exists out there in the world right now. So, moving into the actual story, and this article from Deadline is a puff piece, an example of how to kind of cushion any conversation around what's going on at Disney. From Deadline, as I said, Walt Disney World theme park and resorts will be completely booked. Disneyland reopening still unclear. Well, I guess this article is not exactly up to speed, but we'll read what's here, and there's not much. Now that the Super Bowl is over, where are the crowds going? Evidently, they're going to Florida's Walt Disney World and its resorts, and they didn't even have to win a big game. Ha. Actually, that's not very funny considering that particular parade was canceled this year for the first time in quite some time. But what's even more disingenuous here is, of course the parks are packed. It's called spring break, and spring break has begun at various schools across the entire country, and the parks are usually packed then. They're also artificially keeping the crowds down and only allowing for a certain amount of occupancy when it comes to park passes. Park passes are the only way that you can visit a theme park, even with a valid ticket. You have to have their permission to enter the park. They're also in a weird position because, they have a park hopping mechanism that obviously may not be effective during this time. So you're going to have a lot of guest frustration. If they weren't limiting this, because again, Florida is now an open or more open state, there would be, significant crowds, to be sure, and they would have to employ more people. But they haven't gone about doing that and expanding their capacity like their, cousin around the corner, Universal, who has continued to expand the availability of their parks and the capacity of their parks, while Disney stays, a little bit behind. And they're going to get even further behind because they're going to continue to lose market share as we look at the new theme park being built over at Universal, with the Epic Universe coming very, very soon, and Super Nintendo being that primary element there. Should be pretty impressive. Anyway, the company reported today that all parks are now completely booked next week for Disney resort guests and theme park tickets guests. Disney's Hollywood Studios also currently has no availability for the rest of the month for guests. Well, I guess that means no Star Wars for you. Spring break crowds are pushing capacity at the Florida attraction. So we bury the lead. Disney Resort guests and theme park ticket guests currently have no parks available for reserving park passes Monday, March 15th through Thursday, March 18th. Of course not. Now, also consider this. You also have a large population of locals that like to visit the parks on the weekend. So I don't anticipate weekends being very open going forward to visit these parks with the reduced capacity that Disney is trying to keep for some unknown reason. But anyway, so as we go through, you can see there are many comments in this article. And we talk specifically about, what people are saying. And this is kind of important. This person named Jamie says, wow, only 15% capacity. Why even open? It's ridiculous. Disney World needs to get rid of the reservation crap and up the capacity. I kind of agree with that statement, although 15% is not accurate, but it is significantly reduced capacity. They have an open state and still play by the rules that were set originally that most of the world is now abandoning. Anonymous says, I scrolled through like 10 pages of these stories, didn't see one where it said the issue, the global pandemic, has been solved. Okay, well, that's true. Hank says, open your eyes and quit living in fear. See, we're now dealing with this thing being overly politicized, and when it shouldn't be. There is a real problem with what happens when you do this, when you're incredibly ambiguous and when there is no uniformity. Disney's having a hard time and they want to put forward their best foot, so you get articles like this. Disney continues to utilize its influence to get positive information from the media, outlets like Deadline, Variety, obviously, which are now both owned by the same media company, and obviously they're able to influence what kind of ratings that their films get as well. If you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score for Raya and the Last Dragon, it's obviously heavily reviewed. I mean, 500 reviews on a film that had a depressed theatrical release where there were fewer and fewer folks in there. I'd call that highly suspect. Anyway, like I said, this was going to be an abbreviated video today. Again, I think we're starting to see that more and more people are rubbing off the veneer of positive PR spin for all of these large corporations. I don't think we can blame them. Anyway, I find it kind of fun to cover these stories, as I mentioned, and again, this one was short, but be sure to check out all the other videos on the channel if you haven't already. At least, check out a few of them. The live streams have been particularly good of late. We only keep those up on the channel for a day or two, and then those come down. I've marked most, if not all of them, unlisted on the channel, and they will be migrating over to the live channel here shortly. So hopefully I can get more subscribers there. Hopefully you get a chance to go over there, because the 6 Minute Daily, like I did today, we'll be moving over there tomorrow. So usually it takes about 12 hours for that to post up on the live channel, and then the previous days is marked unlisted. So anyway, that's just the path for keeping things clean over here. Do be sure to support other independent creators. They don't have the mechanism around to support them. The algorithm is even more desperately trying to point you towards what they think are authoritative services and sources and things like that. And when you're really actually getting better information, well-researched information and sourced information from a lot of independent creators out there, people who take the time to read through articles and do pretty decent analysis. So do support independent creators. Also, as I always say at closing, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye. Hey there, one last quick note before I let you go, and before we make it to the end of this video. I, CultureCasino, have a brand new Teespring store. That's right, you can now go to Teespring, look up CultureCasino, or use the link in the video below, and pick out some handsome and beautiful CultureCasino merchandise with many different designs and styles and colors, many different items. I was actually surprised at all of the things that you could create And I have some more designs and items on the way here shortly. But, you know, if you want to support the channel in that way, there is some merch. Otherwise, here comes the ending. Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.